I'm FT, also known as Machine Man Tim. I'm a music producer based in Milton Keynes. I'm part of New Money Recordings, and yeah, I've made beats for 12, 13 years, and yeah, I'm out here working with some sick people, just, yeah, keeping it moving. Shout out Presidential Clothing for shouting me and coming to check me in my lab. And yeah, I'm going to show you how I make a beat, because a lot of people have been asking. I'm going to do it on the spot, chop up a sample, show you how it's done, give you a few tips. So everyone that's been asking me, yeah, you're going to get the lowdown. First of all, I'm inspired by Kanye West, Pete Rock, Just Blaze, The Diplomats, Heatmakers. I love all that sound. I love that classic sound. So, I mean, I studied them, and I just really wanted to emulate what they do. And I think the machine was the best tool for me to be able to learn their style and then find my own style. So I think one thing I'd advise people to do is really listen closely to the style that they like and get some ideas from it and then move on. But anyway, I found a sample. First thing I do is I go on YouTube and I find a sick sample. You can use YouTube, you can use Spotify. There's so many things out there. So there's no excuse. You can find a dope sample anywhere. Sometimes I even go to Poundland and just pick out random CDs and just find a sample that works. But today I went to YouTube and I'm looking for, I love soul. So I've sampled something soulful. This is some Willie Hutch tune. I don't even know which tune it is. But yeah, find it if you want. Yep, so that's the sample. The sample is dope. Love that. It's got to give me like a soulful feeling. It's got to make me feel good. So first thing I do is I put the sample on one pad. The machine's got 16 pads on it, and that's the same as MPC, any good drum machine, 16 pads on it. And it's made up into groups. So what I do is I just duplicate the sample onto all 16 pads. So let me just do that. So that means the same sample is on all 16 pads. So that's it. So it's on there. So what I do now is I go through the sample and I find bits that I like from the song and assign them to different each pad. So this one. Right, so then with hip hop, I think usually the tempo is 90 BPM. That's the tempo that kind of like classic hip hop is usually made at. But hip hop is a beautiful thing because you can make it at any tempo, it doesn't matter. So basically either you can set a tempo and just play with your sample to make the sample work to the tempo, or you can follow the tempo of the sample. In this case, I'm gonna see what the tempo of the sample is. And if I like it, I'll stick with it. If not, then I'll change the speed or whatever. So put that to 79, I'm going to try now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a nice bassist loop to work from now. So that's playing. And I like that. That's nice. That's something you could already spit on even without a beat on it. It's a nice loop. So, boom. That's what I'd call the simple part. I mean, it wasn't simple because you have to get the tempo exactly in. And the actual tempo that this has worked out at is 81.21. So I could be fiddly and I could time stretch it to get it down to 80 or 81 exactly. But that doesn't matter. Music's music. So I've got it looping nicely. There's no gaps. It's not sounding weird. It's sounding good. So what I'll do sometimes now is put a filter on the sample. Right now the sample sounds like this. different filters I can add. I'll put a low pass filter on this one. So now I've got that running, sample running. What I do is I go to the next pad now, second pad, and I find parts of the song that complement it. And I put a high pass filter on there, so I just get the top end. Move on to the next one. You know what, something I like about that intro string as well. So I reckon that'll work on this for some reason. Do another loop with this one. So it's basically just creating loads of loops that you like. Anyway, so you continue that process and boom, you got your sample. As you can see, you can go on forever. But anyway, next thing I'll move on to now is drums. What I say, some people prefer to start with drums. I think what comes with time and experience is that you can kind of work with just the sample before the drums, but a lot of people, you need the drums. I say if you're starting out, start with drums so you can get the rhythm and you can know. Drums just, it helps it flow easier in the beginning stages. But for me, I'm doing drums second. So what I'm going to do now is go find my drum samples and find some drums that I like, some knocking drums. Boom. I think that drum samples are so important. Make sure you've got some dope drum samples. Go and see a friend, look on the internet. Don't be scared to pay for some drums if they sound good. And of course, if you've got access, sample vinyls. I've got a mad collection of drums that I've got from all over the place, and every new computer I get, I move my old drums onto it. So I've just got a mad collection. So all my drums, I make sure they knock. If your sample's nice and clear, if your drums knock, then you're winning because you haven't got to do too much to make it sound amazing if it already sounds great. So yeah, I'm gonna go through. I have a good idea of what kind of drums I like, so I know what knocks. So basically, just like I put the sample on all these different 16 pads, now I've put different drum samples on each of these pads. So now, snares, kick there, kick there. You can order these whatever way it suits you. So yeah. These are my drums now. So the tempo currently is at 81.21, which is cool, random. But basically what I'll do is I'll play along to the metronome. What I'm gonna do for now is, yeah, I'll play it with a sample, just so we can hear the sample. Or shall I give you a little surprise? All right, mute out the sample for now. Let me just make a nice little drum loop. Drum loop, you can start with however you like it. I'm gonna start with a hi-hat. So, it's playing along to the metronome, so it's quite easy. So I'm doing this the simple way. Once you get to a certain level, you'll just be able to just kind of do it all at once. So remember where you place your samples and you're good, so. Anyway. So anyway, so yeah, play the drums to the sample and have fun, improvise. So for me, I always like the way the kicks and the sample work with each other. I like the unison. It needs to sound tight. It needs to sound nice. It needs to be a marriage. So I'll play along with the kick and the sample at the same time. Right, now I've added the drums. Tempo wise, I think take it down slightly, and this is just my ear being very particular. So. All right, that sounds cool. So now, anyway, I've got 2 different samples, and that's the thing is, if you chop things tightly and you get your sample chopped tightly, it's always going to work. So I didn't know if those drums, as you saw, I went and done the drums separately and then added them on with the sample. I did that to kind of prove the fact that if your drums are tight and your sample's tight and it's at the right speed, it's going to come together and it's going to work. You might need to tweak it slightly, but it's going to work. So that's it. That's sounding quite dope. So I've got the sample, I've got the drums, and I've done this very basic now. What I would do now is chop with the sample more and add a few more extra bits just to make it spicy. So I'm just gonna give it 2 minutes of that. Let's see what we come up with. So that is quite minimal. I mean, I've got the kick, 1 hi-hat, 1 snare. So I mean, I'll usually add a bit more. So whether it be little congos and just do some cool stuff. Yeah, so after I've got some cool loops, I've got some samples, basically I'll just do a blank canvas, have all my samples up, do some mad chops and just freestyle. And what I'll do is I'll probably record some of it and then boom, I'll just see what happens. So let me just have a freestyle on it with some samples, see how it sounds. Thanks for watching me, FT, using my machine. I hope you caught some good tips. Check me out on all my social medias, which you'll find below. Yeah, peace out.